We could not, in good conscience, protect the most extreme elements of the settler movement as it tries to destroy the two-state solution. And we may not be able to stop them, but we cannot be expected to defend them. If the choice is one state, Israel can either be Jewish or democratic. It cannot be both.
Attacking an ally, Secretary Kerry delivering a blistering speech yesterday against Israel following that recent UN vote on Israel's settlement.
So, what are Israelis living in those settlements thinking this morning about that speech? Well, Daniel Luria is one of them. He joins us live now from Jerusalem. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate your time.
Good morning.
You live in East Jerusalem. You live in a place that Secretary Kerry calls occupied, that the UN says is occupied territory. Tell us what it's like to live there. Tell us what Israelis are feeling this morning.
Well, first of all, I live in Ma'ale Adumim, actually. Work all the time in what the world refers to as East Jerusalem. From our point of view, it's the eternal capital of the Jewish people. And the truth is, there's not much the world can do about it. I was dismayed and even shocked at the historical ignorance yesterday in the speech. I mean, friends don't put friends in danger. To ask us to put a terror state on our back doorstep when we already have one in the Gaza Strip is just phenomenal. To even think that a friend could do that. Friends are meant to understand that we have a 4,000-year history with Jerusalem and with the land of Israel. 1,600 years, when Muhammad was running around and praying in Arabia, we already had the first temple. So for people today to still talk in terms of occupation or illegal settlements is just astounding. The two-state solution, in addition to that, is clearly an oxymoron. You can't have two states where one of the states wants to destroy the second state. So clearly it's no solution. I live in Ma'ale Adumim, where there's 40,000 people. It's a regular city 5 minutes out of Jerusalem. I work in Jerusalem, regular everyday people. We do not teach our children to make Molotov cocktails or throw stones. There's no hate or incitement being taught or educated anywhere in our schools, and that's what we're up against. So in addition to the fact that Israel is the Jewish homeland, so it's impossible actually for us to be illegal occupiers of our own homeland, we're surrounded by millions of people that want to still see us driven into the sea. So, so why should we create a state on our back doorstep?
Right, and Dan, your voice is so important this morning because where you are, that is where everyone is affected by this resolution. Help people better understand that are watching this here at home in the United States and afar. Help them understand the impact of this resolution.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, the size of Israel is the size of New Jersey, 7,000 to 8,000 square miles. To even think of dividing up that area to create a terror state is totally absurd. It cannot be. To think that we have literally already today missiles, thousands of missiles coming into regular cities is incomprehensible. So why should we hand away our own homeland just to have more of the same people on our back doorstep? There are plenty of Arabs that may want to live in peace side by side, but there's too many that want to see the end and do not recognise even the smallest of Jewish entities. But what the world doesn't understand, maybe the Arab world doesn't understand, is we're not moving. So terror isn't going to drive us out.
Sure. Daniel, I was in Israel a couple of months ago, visited Judea and Samaria, and some of these settlements in not in East Jerusalem, but throughout Judea and Samaria, the so-called West Bank. What is the biggest misconception that Americans or others have about these settlers and settlements?
Well, I'm assuming, I know actually, I speak to many Americans overseas, and I think they're these little shacks on hilltops. We're talking about close to 800,000 Jews today living in Judea and Samaria and in what the world refers to as East Jerusalem neighbourhoods. The Jews were actually displaced from. So if anyone is an illegal occupier, it's actually the Arabs. The Jews were kicked out in the pogroms from the city of David, from the Mounts of Olives, from the Shimon HaTzadik neighbourhood, from the old Yemenite village, from the old Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter of today. Jews were the ones who were evicted, we're the ones who were displaced, and yet the world is saying that we are the occupiers. There is something warped and distorted about that thinking. Regular people, beautiful cities who are not teaching hate or incitement.
Daniel, that's certainly what I saw as well, and we're very grateful.
And Daniel, such an important voice to hear this morning. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for being with us.